Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is the trade live stream. It is me, Joey P. Joe P's here with me, the Undertaker himself, Andrew Erickson, and it's you, all the folks hanging out here on the Fantasy Pros channel. Don't forget to like this video, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Fantasy Pros, and ring that bell till it goes ding for notifications. So you know every time a piece of content drops here on the channel. We got the podcast, we've got the shorts. You gotta love the shorts. Erickson, I'm wearing shorts right now. It's September, and yet here I am in New Jersey still wearing shorts. Love that. And of course, all these live streams we got for you every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, and Sunday mornings, 2 hours. Erickson, I mean, if we don't answer your question at some point in there, I don't know what's going on.
I mean, you're not asking enough questions at that point. If we can't get, you can't find your question. We have all the shows, all the live streams, the Discord channel. I mean, if you don't get your question answered, and it's on you at this point, right? It's on you. So we're doing the best we can.
We're doing the best we can here. And with some breaking news earlier today that we didn't anticipate before we get to some of your questions, just want to touch on this point real quick too. The Dolphins running back situation getting mighty interesting. Raheem Mostert out on the short week. The Jalen Wright inactive on Sunday starting to make a little more sense, Erickson. It's almost as if they kind of knew with the short week things weren't great with the health of Mostert, and they were just being careful. Here's the question. Achane having some issues too. Mostert out. Is it Wilson? Is it Wright? Is it a collection? What happens Thursday?
It's probably a collection, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't excited about Jalen Wright. Again, this is the exact same thing that happened last year with Achane. Achane, I believe, was either inactive week 1 or was kick returning or something along those lines. Then it was week 2 against the Denver Broncos, and then they scored 70 points, and the rest was history. So, again, we'll still wait to see if Achane is available. Again, if they feel like he can't go, I almost prefer that. Give him 10 days of rest to make sure that he's fully recovered and just run it. I mean, look, we saw Jordan Mason rush for 147 yards. Running backs don't matter, okay? You got Jeff Wilson, Jalen Wright, the carbon copies of their Raheem Mostert, DeVonta, Achane. The Dolphins will be fine. So run it back. This way you don't need to feel like you have to start Achane. Just put him in your IR spot. He'll be good to go for week 3. And yeah, maybe we'll see a rushing celebration of sorts between Jalen Wright and Jeff Wilson.
I like the sound of that, a rushing celebration. Jalen Wright to me has a little bit more of that Mostert in him, which is by the goal line too, which is why I like Wright just a little bit more. But this is why we were talking about drafting some of these guys too, because Raheem Mostert, 32 years old. Look, I didn't think it was going to happen this quickly. I'll be honest with you, but week 2, here we are. This is what happens here. All right, let's get to your questions. Before we do, don't forget, drop your questions below or any comment below. Try to keep it nice, will you? I mean, this is Fantasy Pros. We're having some fun here. And if you do, you can win some free stuff. Trophy Smack, our good pals over there, are giving away the Trophy Smack 36-inch glorious trophy. Look at that bad boy. It's fantastic, and it can be yours. It is glorious. It'll just make everyone in your league jealous. It'll be fantastic. You can put it up right in the center of your house. I'm sure it'll make your significant other really happy. Just show that off right in the living room when you win your fantasy championship. And you say, Joe, how can I win this? And I say by subscribing to the channel, dropping your comments below, and ringing the bell till it goes ding. That's it. That's all you got to do. And the Fantasy Football 36-inch championship trophy from Trophy Smack can be yours. All right, let's get to questions here. Let's start with JT Blue. Rice and Evans for Kupp. It is week 2. People already starting to kick some tires on some trades, Erickson. This is a hot one right out of the gate. I think Rice and Evans for Kupp. I want to be on the Rice and Evans side of this deal by a long shot.
I agree. I'd rather keep 2 good guys instead of 1 good guy. So that's all I view it.
I'm not, look, I'm not saying Rashee Rice is Jamar Chase or CeeDee Lamb or any of those guys, but Rashee Rice can be a very useful wide receiver. Both these guys, Rice younger than Cooper Kupp, and Evans, I was just talking with Justin Boone. I was just on his show, Erickson, about, the Buccaneers just not being a team that gets enough credit. Baker Mayfield's season last year I don't think got enough credit. He looked great in week 1. Sure, it was against the Commanders. Like Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield, I feel really good about that situation too. So this is a no-brainer. You were saying, though, on the podcast, I believe, yesterday about trading Kupp. Was that you talking about that?
Yep. That was me.
So go into that for all the people who might have missed that. And if you want more of it, go back and listen to the podcast. But give everybody like the 10-second spiel about why you're already dealing Cooper Kupp.
Well, because you can get pretty much anything for him. If we're redrafting teams today, he's probably going in the first round. with all these other receivers. And basically, he's going where Puka Nacua was going, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you have on your hands. Look at the Rams situation. They have 4 injured starting offensive linemen. 4 of them. That's double checking. You have to start 5 offensive linemen. So that's a lot of concerns I have with
That's right. 5. You're right. I double checked.
And when you look at what Kupp did on Sunday night, he got over 100 yards and it took 21 targets to get there. He's not going to get 21 targets. Again, in a situation where you lose Puka Nacua mid-game, you don't have an opportunity to game plan to feature other players on your team. The game plan going in was, Puka and Kupp. That's the game plan. Instead, well, Puka's gone, so now it all has to go to Kupp. So I just don't think it's going to be that much. Again, he's going to lead the team in targets, but I just don't think it's going to be 20 targets per week. And I think that's what everyone is fixating on, how that one game where I don't think over the span of the season, again, Puka may or may not come back. We're not really sure about that, but I just think he's overvalued right now. And like I said, you could get Saquon Barkley for Cooper Kupp. Am I wrong?
Not on my team, but yeah, I think theoretically you could probably I think the point you're making is the value might be at its peak already. And I think that is the big takeaway here. Let's go to King Fan 33-3. Let's go to trade away Tank Dell for Davante Adams. I already have CJ and Nico and wondering if I need to diversify. Thanks. So trading away Tank Dell for Davante Adams, is that a trade you can even pull off? I mean,
it seems like he seems confident he can do it. So yeah, I mean, look, I like Tank Dell for the spike weeks, but it seems like it's going to be Nico at number 1 and then kind of a 2A, 2B with him and Diggs, and just depends on who scores the touchdown or not. So look, Adams, he's going to get the volume, man. Like that's what's going to happen one way or another. And he's going to, if it's not Minshew, then Minshew's not going to be the quarterback anymore. So
it's true. I'd still rather have Adams rest of the season. And I'm somebody that wasn't super high on Adams going into the year, but that was my thought process too. Let's go to Daniel's question. Daniel Klutz, or maybe it's Klutz. What do you think? Klutz or Klutz, Erickson?
Klutz.
Nice, yes. Daniel Klutz. Achane and Drake London for the AJ Brown PPR. That's the question.
I'll take AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, that's a lot though to give up for AJ Brown.
AJ Brown
London
is
and Achane?
So good. What I mean, everyone just talks about how DeVonta Smith is like good. The 1B, and it doesn't matter. AJ Brown is so good. So
Look,
good.
I'm all for getting the best player of the deal. Best player of the deal is AJ Brown. So I'll also say yes, but you need to have depth to pull this off. Like you need to have a bench that's got, Brian Robinson on it at running back, or some other running backs you feel pretty good, or you picked up Mason, or you picked up J.K. Dobbins. Like you got to have some running back depth to think deal Etienne and Drake London for AJ Brown. Let's go to the next one here. Let's go to T. Robson 31, half PPR Dynasty. Would you trade Ridley for Pollard? I'm thin at RB. Yeah, I'm good with this one, Erickson. I'm definitely good with this one.
Yep. Ridley's playing the Jets this week, so it's going to be another bad game from him.
And, more to the point, too, I think we forget that the Titans paid Tony Pollard. If they were in love with Tajay Spears, why did they pay Tony Pollard? And you already saw in that first game, Tony Pollard got used. Will Levis has a lot of deficits, but I think Pollard will be the piece that every week you feel better about starting in that offense for sure. That's how I look at that. All right, let's go to DK Smith for the next question here. What's up, y'all? Should I trade Mahomes and likely for Hurts in my Superflex PPR league? Why, oh, why would you do this? My other side ends are McBride and Ferguson. Look, you don't trade Mahomes because Mahomes, to me, is above Hurts already rest of season. So right off the bat, this is the wrong answer. Erickson, what are you doing here?
I'm not doing this trade. Why? You have McBride and Ferguson. You already have 2 good tight ends on your team. Why? Again, like unless.
Well, you have 1 good tight end. You have McBride, and you have
Ferguson's hurt, but he's going to be fine when he's back.
Well, I'm assuming he's got likely McBride and Ferguson. That's what we're talking about here. So you've got likely whose value might be at its peak. If you want to try to, make a trade here involving likely, that's fine, but you're not moving up from Mahomes. There is no moving up from Mahomes. Mahomes, Allen, Hurts are all going to be within a couple points of each other at the end of the year, most likely. Just depends on the way in which they get their points is different. And just because, like this past, first week here, Mahomes' point total was a little lower than you might have expected. I wouldn't be trying to all of a sudden change it around and chasing Josh Allen or any of that. I think at the end of the day, they're all pretty close. So take likely if you love McBride and sell him high for something else. That's what I do here for sure.
The process is right. You're trying to package likely with something to upgrade. I just don't think quarterback is your issue. So look at another.
No, No, I mean, fix your QB2 if it's a super flex, if that's the problem. That's what we're trying to get at here. Again, drop your questions below here in the chat. We're going to try to get as many as we can in here in the program. Here's one from Jamie. Trade away Cooper, question mark. It's just an open-ended, in a vacuum question.
Which Cooper? Cooper Kupp? Amari Cooper?
Let's do them all. First, let's do Amari Cooper, because I'm guessing that's the one we're talking
you
about.
don't know, because guys, if you drafted Amari Cooper, you knew you were signing up for. It's the roller coaster, man. Like, of course he's gonna have bad games, and he's gonna do. You know what? He's gonna go over 100 yards this week, and there's gonna be no rhyme or reason to it. Just that's the Amari Cooper stat line, and it's not because Watson is good, just because this is what Amari Cooper does. So you never sell Amari Cooper after a bad game. You always sell him off after a good game, which is going to come sooner than you expect. So yes.
Well, can it come with Deshaun Watson? That's the question.
Well,
or is it going to take Winston?
Year.
Well,
I mean, hey, again, Amari Cooper, his will make it happen. So
it's true. And we already talked about dealing Cooper Kupp.
And
Any other Coopers we can trade?
I want to trade away Cooper Kupp.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's go to Mr. Sanchez here. Jay Sanchez, Metcalf for Harrison Jr., half-point PPR. Who would you rather have rest of season?
Probably Harrison.
I would agree with that. I would agree. So both of us want Harrison. Harrison's another guy, early targets. It's really tough in week 2 to make trades, Erickson. Any advice for the folks out there? Because it's so early in the year. Most people don't want to overreact to week 1. Some people will. So you have to know your league and know what's going on there. But do you find that, people can even pull off trades in week 1? I actually got a DM from somebody. They were asking, would you trade CMC for Breece Hall? And I said, yeah, I'll take Breece Hall rest of season over CMC. Of course. He's younger. He's healthier. That's the no-brainer. He's like, well, I have Mason too. If I have to give them Mason, do I do that just to get? I said, yeah, do whatever you got to do. Get Breece Hall, right? Not only did he get that straight up, he kept Mason. That is a win right there. That is having your cake and eating it too. So deals are out there. But Erickson, what's the key to making deals early?
I think for me, I think you should be aggressive after week 1. And I think the thing should be is try to make a decent amount of trades based on the news year players. Look, because every trade you make after week 1 is not going to be right. But if you make enough of them, I think that you're going to net a positive overall. So again, the one trade I set out was trying to trade away J.K. Dobbins, selling high. I tried to get Jayden Reed. I thought that was fair given the injury status of Jordan Love, and didn't work. So again, you can only do so much. Like, you can try and people can reject your offers, and then you just got to move on. Like, just don't put overemphasis on spending hours trying to craft the perfect trade for nothing. Like,
don't write an essay either.
Yeah. If you have to write the essay, then it's not going to go through.
This is my 6-part dissertation of why you should trade me your AJ Brown for my DeMarcus Robinson.
My 5 bad players for your one good player.
Right. Like, don't do that. If you make a trade and it doesn't speak for itself of why the other person should make that trade, and stop trying to fleece everybody. Like, it's a waste of time. You're insulting the other person. Don't do that. Just go out there, make solid offers, put yourself in the other person's shoes. And if you look at the end and you're like, this isn't a good match, don't send the trade, because nothing good's going to come of it. All right. Trey Watts. Let's get something good out of this one. Give CD Lamb and Kyler receive CMC and Marvin Harrison. I mean, it depends on the form. I mean, it's a super flex. Kyler's a little bit more useful, but I don't know here. This is a tough one here, Erickson. Where do you stand? Because the CMC issue with the tendonitis is one that certainly has the possibility of not only lingering for a period of time, but also coming back at any given time. Because this is the same thing apparently he was dealing with in January. And he played through it because it was the playoffs and the Super Bowl, and you managed through it. But it's back again. So who would you rather have rest of season? Marvin Harrison, CMC, or Kyler Murray and CD Lamb?
I'm taking Lamb and Kyler. I'm not going after CMC. I'm not doing this. Again,
not doing this.
We talked about the injury.
Well, we've been doing it all offseason.
That's what I mean. I'm not going to, after 1 week, no, maybe the opportunity to buy him is here now. No. You shouldn't have him on your teams. We told you. We tried to tell you. Everyone else had a different RB1 than Christian McCaffrey, even though we didn't agree who that was. I don't think this is like, now should you get back in? And I don't think so. I'm very afraid of this, because every time we talk about the injury, it's like another layer. It's like, well, now it's Achilles tendonitis. Now it's this new thing. I'm like, dude, like, I just don't think this is gonna end well. So
you know what the best part is? You, myself, Derek Brown all play in that super flex championship league together. And before when the season started, Jake never sets up waivers in that league until the first week. So you have to wait all the way to that first week to start, right? And I outbid on Wednesday of last week or Debro by $1 for Jordan Mason. And he was so mad about it. And then Monday night, he was even more mad about it. And that was just the best. It was just the best. It's the small joys in life. And now, I'm curious, where is he in your early rankings this week, Mason?
Oh, Mason?
Yeah.
Well,
is he top 10?
It's gotta be, right? I think he's like 15 right now. But
he's not top 10 against Minnesota?
There's a lot of good running backs.
What's the high-pitched voice? What's going on there? All right, let's go to Matt Martinez. Trade away Likely and Rachaad White to the person who has Andrews, receive Mixon. Is that a fair trade to send? I don't know at the end of the year. Look, I know Mixon had a great game. Rachaad White's game was disappointing. At the end of the year, when all is said and done, I don't think Mixon and Rachaad White are that far off. So I don't think this is like upgrade city for me. What are your thoughts here, Andrew? I say no.
No, I like Mixon. I would do this trade.
That much better than Rachaad White over the year?
I mean, Dameon Pierce is like Mixon got 30 carries. That's Rachaad White's never gonna have 30
and
carries.
How many times the rest of the year is he gonna get 30 carries, Andrew? Let's be honest.
Well, I know.
And if he does, how long is Mixon gonna play? Because he is not gonna take 30 carries a week. There's just no way it's gonna happen. The 28-year-old running back's not getting 30 attempts a week.
He plays in an offense that, the Texans are better than the Bucs. So,
but are they that much better to give up Likely too? I say no. Andrew says yes. So there you go. You're split. So now you got to ask Derek Brown. You got to figure that out. All right, let's get to the next one here. We got Fitz too. He's smart. Would you trade McCaffrey right now or sit and wait? Now, this is an interesting one. So Ryokin has a good question here, which is about the value in a vacuum right now in this period of time with McCaffrey, because theoretically, this is the danger zone of trading McCaffrey. I say you wait another week or two. If you want to get out from McCaffrey, the time isn't today. The time is in a week, maybe from now, where things are trending in the right direction. And they say he looks like he's going to play in week 3. Then you get out of it, because then you're selling at a point where people believe, okay, he's back. Everything is going to at least be okay, possibly. That's my take. I think everybody has the most trade value when they're coming back from an injury, not in the beginning of the injury phase. But what say you, Andrew?
I think the other layer to this is, do you have Mason or not on your team? Right? Because if you have Mason, like, whatever, I don't care. I can wait as long as I want. Like, just Mason's. Right. I mean, again, Mason's not. I mean, look, obviously what we saw Monday night is that's the highlight of what we can expect from Mason. I don't think he's going to do that every single week. Again, he caught 0. I think he had 1 catch in that game. Like, McCaffrey catches way more passes than Mason does. But again, you still feel okay that you have CMC on the bench and you're starting Mason. If you don't have Mason and you're stuck with CMC, dude, I'm getting out, man. I'm going to try to find the Mason manager. Be like, hey, like, what can I get for McCaffrey? Like, who's the best player on that player's team? And then just swap them. I mean, you can still get, I think we talked about, you can probably still get Chase. People are so down on Chase after 6 catches, 56 yards, because the Bengals look terrible on offense. People are down on Chase. I'm sure you can get, like, if you trade McCaffrey, you can probably get Chase. So
it'll be fine. And of course, as Andrew said, we're going to try to answer as many questions as we can. But if for some reason we don't, make sure you sync your leagues to my playbook and use the tools to help you find the right trades in all your leagues, including the trade assistant. That is the tool there you can put out there. Again, we have a whole suite of tools, the waiver wire assistant, the trade analyzer, all these things are available for you. You can get instant advice for all of your leagues. Who should I trade? Where's the good matchup? Who can help this other person's team? It'll give you all of those insights in all your different formats and leagues. All you got to do is plug it in, and all you got to do is sync your leagues for free. Did I mention it's free? Well, it is. So go use My Playbook. Go to fantasypros.com/myplaybook, or just download the My Playbook app, and you could get it right now today and start making those deals. All right, let's go to another question here. Let's go to Joe's question here. Joe Barron, Andrews for Jameson Williams. It was a good week for Williams, a bad week for Andrews. This is a tough one for Andrew because we're dealing with Mark Andrews. It's a very sensitive topic for him. His tight end 1 going into the year. We're both buys, just for the record, on Mark Andrews, correct? Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're both buys on here. Jameson Williams or Andrews, who would you rather have rest of season?
It's Andrews for me. Rest of season.
But could you give a little less energy on that answer?
Well, because I think that
just a little less. No, just like, could you just like take a nap during that answer? I mean, holy crap, was that low energy? Well, this is the live stream of Fantasy Pros. It's the afternoon. What are you doing?
Okay, well, it's because that is not an answer that I feel like is just, it's a simple yes or no. I think there's more context to this
Then
particular
give me
question.
the context. You were
That's
just
what I
like
was getting
defeated.
to, but you came after me first.
Well, I came after you because it was a low energy answer, and I thought
Because
there
I
was
wasn't
nothing
like,
left.
oh man, like gotta take Andrews for Jameson, because that's not actually how I feel. That's
Well,
not. I'm
good.
not
How
like.
do you feel? Tell me about your feelings,
Okay,
Andrew.
so what you're doing here is if you want to move Andrew, because then who's your other tight end, right? We don't know if he has another tight end on his roster. Does he have Likely? Do you have Brock Bowers? That changes the equation, in my opinion, because what we saw from Likely is Andrews can't be tight end one. Like, I'll admit that. It doesn't mean he can't be a weekly starter, but he can't be tight end one as long as Likely's around. I feel pretty strongly about that. So whereas Jameson Williams, we also don't know what his receivers look like. So if you really need a receiver, then I understand this. But in a vacuum, I do prefer Andrews rest of the season. But I can see a world where, based on your roster, you do want to go after Jameson Williams. And I don't think giving up Andrews, you're going to reflect and be like, oh man, that was so dumb, because Andrews won't be tight end one. He'll be a starter, but Jameson Williams is a starter, right? So that's the way I look at it. So I'm sorry for the lack of energy.
No, I thought you were done, so I apologize. It just seemed like Andrews, and that was it. You didn't give me any indication there was more to that.
I was trying to build.
That was lovely.
Well,
you did. You did. You also yelled at me a little bit. It hurt my feelings a little bit.
Well, I mean,
I'm very sensitive.
I'm gonna have to, well, as we'll talk about on the Betting Pros show, I owe you certain stuff.
Still
better
Andrew's
about it.
Alluding to is Andrew's still mad at me because he owes me money because of the Jets 49ers game. And tomorrow on Betting Pros, he is going to pay up live during the show. It's going to be a beautiful thing. We're going to have the Venmo transaction happen on the program. Subscribe to Betting Pros. It's going to be a great time. Also, Andrew and I have our look ahead show for week 2. It's fantastic. Go watch that too. Question for you. You're a Patriot fan. Yes. I'm a Patriots fan. I remember an era where there were 2 tight end ones in fantasy on one team. It's not impossible, looking at the landscape of wide receivers that they have, that Likely and Andrews could be valuable tight end ones in fantasy this year. I'm not saying they're the same talent level of Gronk and Aaron Hernandez in their peak time, but it's not an impossibility. It's a run first team. It is a team that, I don't think is I won't say they're the most conservative offense in the world, but they're not slinging the ball around the field either necessarily. So is there a universe where that could happen with the Baltimore Ravens this year?
I think so. Yeah, I
think so too.
I think we'll find where both guys can be started every week, like weekly starting tight ends, and the production will bounce and vary depending on the matchup and depending on how often the Ravens need to throw in a particular matchup. Like this week, you're probably not going to see both Likely and Andrews smash against the Raiders, right? This is a Derrick Henry game for you, right? Again, like how last week people are coming after Joe, and it's like, guys, like it doesn't matter. Justice Hill had more snaps, and like this was the game script against the Chiefs. So, like this was very predictable. So I didn't chime in on that because I didn't think I was taking this massive W or whatever, because Justice Hill played more in a game where they were losing. So of course he got more targets. And
they were losing. It was a short week. He's 30 years old. It's week 1. Did you really think he was going to get 30 carries like Joe Mixon did in week 1? No. And let's see who's standing, by the way. If it's Derrick Henry and we get to week 14, or if it's Joe Mixon, just let's watch these workloads very carefully, very carefully. Laser set to stun. Now that's a YouTube name. Trade away DeVonta Smith for Josh Jacobs. If I'm thin at running back, I have Achane and D. Montgomery.
Yeah, I think you got to do that if you're thin at running back. Like you may not have a starter if Achane doesn't play. So yeah.
Would you be more apt to trade Achane, who might give you back? I mean, I guess
people don't like a lot. It's so much harder to do like running back for running back deals. So
it also depends on your wide receiver depth too. But yeah, I think that's okay. I just worry about Josh Jacobs and that whole collective offense in Green Bay for the next month. Like it's gonna be ugly.
I mean, he's gonna get volume, and then it's just a matter of what happens after that. So we'll see.
All right. Hopefully, I get this one right. Thibaut Remy. Let's say Thibaut Remy, because he's saying hello from France. So I'm assuming I don't pronounce the T. Bonjour, Thibaut. Well, I'm glad we're an international phenomenon here on the program. I want to trade away Likely and a wide receiver for an RB2. 12-team half PPR. I have Waddle, Wilson, Lamb, Rice, and Deontay Johnson. Ooh wee. All right. What do you recommend to try to get Kyren Williams, Etienne, or others? First of all, would you want Kyren Williams or Etienne? Who would be your target?
Etienne.
Okay, Etienne is your target. So I don't think you can get that for Deontay.
You're not going to be able to trade. You're not going to get anything for Deion. Like, you can't get anything for players that do bad. It's just fact.
Well, I'm just looking at it this way. Remy, I think your best bet here is just play the waiver wire for running back. Like, play the Jalen Wrights, the J.K. Dobbins of the world. Like, play that game. Don't deal from your strength, because all you're doing, like, you have a great wide receiver core. You could have Waddle, Wilson, Lamb, Rice, all playing at the same time. It's a 3 wide with a flex. Now, if it's a 2 wide receiver league, that changes my tone. If it's a 2 wide, then maybe I would float out there. I would float out Garrett Wilson just to see if I could get like a good, somebody better than these guys. Maybe you can make a push for somebody.
I'm just trying to think, because I'm trying to look at a different way where I'm cool.
Here's one. Oh, yeah, Garrett Wilson for Derrick Henry if it's a 2 wide receiver league. Would you pull that off?
Half PPR.
Because you've already got Lamb, you've got Waddle, you've got Rice. Like, that's pretty good. That's a good
Actually, the running back that you could also consider is Jonathan Taylor. He's actually coming off like a not great game. So
yeah, Taylor for Garrett Wilson. That's pretty fair. I think that's the route you'd rather go, Remy, or just play the waiver wire for now. Don't get rid of your strengths just to even out somewhere else. That's never necessarily the best thing to do. Now, we've got a live stream here right now happening for you. Also, we've got live shows on our audio channel too that we record on Discord. So if you want to get your questions answered there and actually get on the show with your voice, we'll make you famous. Join our Discord for free. It's our community over at Fantasy Pros. It's fantasypros.com/chat. Again, if you're premium, you get access to a whole lot more. We got the touchdown call contest. We got all kinds of fun things going on there. The Betting Pros Discord is hot too. We've got, I think, 35,000 people in there too. The Fantasy Pros one's off the chain. We've got all sorts of interactive stuff going on there and a lot of cool people. So join our community. You want to talk fantasy football all day long, just don't get fired at work. The way to do it is fantasypros.com/chat. So join our Discord. Let's get in there. All right, let's get back to the questions here. Let's go to Brian's question. Brian DeCastro, half PPR, Chase or A.J. Brown?
Chase. Chase for me.
Chase. I'm with you still. I don't want to go crazy here, but if you want to take the drama out, I don't know this year if A.J. Brown and Chase are that far off. I think people were underrating A.J. Brown this year a little bit. I really do. I thought the ADP was a little bit further down the trough than it should have been. Again, it was a top 10 pick probably still, but I got him at the turn in a couple leagues. It was crazy. I don't understand that. Aiden Gavin, trade or keep Mason. I only have Taylor, Pollard, and Brown as running backs. I'd be keeping Mason if that was my grouping. Erickson, how about you?
Keeping him until someone blows you away with an offer. Just keep playing the top 15 running back weeks, like your top 10 running back weeks. Who knows?
I saw one of the big analysts in the industry, got him ranked 4th overall this week. And the argument is one we could have. I mean, Minnesota against that offensive line there. I don't know.
Minnesota's run defense was pretty good last year with Brian Flores. Like, they usually try to stop the run. So, I mean, we'll see.
We'll see what happens there. Let's go to Sean's question here. Mason and McBride to get Laporta or just hold? The question is, do you think McBride is a big enough or Laporta is a big enough upgrade over McBride? That's the question.
I don't even think is he really even an upgrade? He's not the number one.
I think they're close.
I mean, yeah, I think they're I think it's lateral, honestly. Flip a coin. So I feel like I'm just giving away Mason for nothing. So no, for me.
I agree. I would be, if this was, let's say, George Kittle and Mason for Laporta, that's a yes. Yeah. I think McBride is too close to Laporta.
McBride was week 1. He was the number 1 receiver for the Cardinals. He got 9 targets. Like,
it's going to get better too. Like, just chill. I mean, the Buffalo was a tough matchup on the road first week, and they were competitive. Here we go from Kirk Johnson. Trade Justin Jefferson and Nick Chubb for Davante Adams and Joe Mixon. No, because Justin Jefferson's the best player in this deal by a country mile. So this is a hard no for me.
I feel the same way.
Look, I understand you're getting, like, theoretically more good pieces, but Jefferson's the guy. Joe Mixon, I don't know how many more weeks he's going to win you. I just don't. Like, let's not make Joe Mixon Walter Payton after 1 week. I think that's a little much. That's all. It's a little much. That's all I'm saying. Let's go to Lawrence here. Trade Godwin for Aiyuk? Question mark. Who would you rather have rest of season? I'm still Aiyuk for me.
Yeah, like, this is a classic case of I really like both these guys, but Godwin played really well and Aiyuk didn't. But guys, like, with Aiyuk, we know he was going to do bad because he wasn't at practice and he was facing the Jets. So it's like you got to, like, take into consideration sometimes these matchups where it's like clearly Aiyuk was not going to, it was a smash Debo spot. Everybody knew it was a smash Debo spot. And of course,
the Jets play a lot of too high. That's typically the smash Debo spot.
Debo got 8 rushing attack, scored a rushing touchdown, like very, very predictable. So, but yeah, long term, when you look up, you're going to probably rather have Aiyuk.
You know, it's funny, all this McCaffrey Mason talk. The interesting asset here that I think is growing in value that people aren't talking about is actually Debo. Because if McCaffrey, let's say worst case scenario, misses a lot of time or has a massive injury at some point in the season, you know, we know that they're willing to go to Debo in that other role more. You know, like that's not out of the question. And they might have to because Elijah Mitchell is out for the year too, or you start signing guys up off the street. You know, Debo's the other guy too that I think people aren't quite talking about enough in the trade wins.
Yeah, but I do think that although his production gets spiked, his injury risk goes through the roof when he's taking carries in between the tackles. So that's the other thing. Again, I want to say you're like sitting on like a ticking time bomb with Debo, but I talked about him as a sell high. Like I think that he still is a player that you want to ride the wave while it's good right now, but just be cognizant that this could end very quickly for Debo as we see him every single year. Someone will get banged up, and if he's playing more running back, that's very conducive to him sustaining injuries.
All right, let's get to a little reminder here too. I see all of you people in the chat here joining us live. We love when you're here with us. Drop your questions. And remember, if you do, you might win some cool free stuff, including the fantasy trophy of your dreams here from Trophy Smack. It is 36 inches. It is glorious. It is the championship trophy. Look at that thing, man. That is cool. If you want it, there's a way to get it. Again, drop your questions below, ring the bell till it goes ding, and subscribe to the FantasyPros YouTube channel, which you probably already should have anyway, but tell your friends to subscribe too. Maybe, you know, don't tell them to comment because you want it, at least this one, then they can comment next week and you can win this and they can win something else and it'll all work out very nicely. So the Fantasy Football Championship Trophy is here. It's for you. We'll be giving it away, I believe, this week, at the end of the week or the beginning of next week. So not a lot of time. Get in there and be a big winner here. Trophy Smack has the coolest stuff too for all of your leagues, whether it be the trophies, the rings, the belts, all that cool stuff. I've got a couple of Trophy Smack things here on the old mantle as well. So good times over there. Let's get back to the questions here. Raphael's question, Keon Coleman or Jayden Reed? This is a no-brainer for me. I want Jayden Reed rest of season. I'm buying low on him everywhere because I think the next couple of weeks are going to be miserable. The question is now the time to buy low or do you wait a week?
No, I don't know. I guess you might have to wait a week because I tried to buy low on Jayden Reed with J.K. Dobbins.
We had such a good week.
But are people not considering the fact that Jordan Love's not going to play and it's going to be maybe you're right. Maybe they need to see Malik Willis play first, because I guess maybe it's been removed from our minds for so long. Like, oh yeah, like he was a 3rd round pick. Like we talked about him like in the 1st round conversation at one point. Yeah, I mean, based on my personal experience, again, I tried to buy low on Jayden Reed. It did not work. So maybe I'll have to just knock on the door next week after Malik Willis plays, and maybe we'll get the deal. Maybe the deal will get done this time.
Maybe it could be really bad for them this week.
Could be extremely bad. I mean, look, Malik Willis is one of these. He's one of these sack machine quarterbacks. They just hold on to the ball,
which is funny because he's mobile. Like you would think,
because because they think they can make plays. They think that they can do these things, and they just can't.
Yeah, you're gonna let a lot of running the football. Now that's the dangerous thing too, because Jayden Reed does get involved in the run game.
Yes.
So
he's a team touch
that's
guy,
why that's why we covet him, because we feel like he's still going to touch the football. Yes. Christian Watson is on a hard pause. I've benched him in every league this week because I mean, of course I'm going to bench him. He's going to have, 2 touchdowns in this game. I'm sure.
No, it's going to be Wicks that catches the long touchdown when he's on everyone's waiver wires.
Gross. Don't say those things. You say that stuff and it manifests. Let's go to Chris here. T. Higgins for Brian Thomas. Yes. What side of this deal you want to be? You're a big Brian Thomas guy. Let's talk about it. I just did Justin Boone's show, and he was talking about Brian Thomas or Kirk rest of season. So I want to get your take on that one and this one and why.
Brian Thomas is the Jaguars wide receiver 1 rest of season.
Already, huh?
I mean, I had them ranked back-to-back in rest of season ranks because I was just low on Kirk with the calf injury he was dealing with. And I remember proposing to one of the other analysts that I can't remember if it was Debo or Fitz, but I asked him straight up, is Christian Kirk an alpha? And they're like, No, that's what I mean. This team needed an alpha receiver. And what did they draft? In the 1st round, an alpha receiver who just couldn't be an alpha at LSU because Malik Neighbors was there. But he has an alpha profile. If he'd been on any other team, he would have gotten way higher than 23rd overall or wherever the Jacksonville Jaguars drafted him, which is because he was the number 2. But what do we see all the time? These number 2 receivers in college Jefferson, Chase. Oh, well, they're both number ones in the NFL. Like that's the case. It's not that he was so much worse and inferior to Malik Neighbors. It was, well, Neighbors is a target hog and needs to get all the targets. And, oh, I'll just score 17 touchdowns. Like, whatever. That'll be fine. So Brian Thomas, 2 touchdowns, 1 call back because of a Jalen Ramsey interference. On the broadcast, they talked about how Ramsey was shadowing Brian Thomas Jr., a rookie receiver in his first game in the NFL. The Dolphins were like, we have to put Jalen Ramsey on this guy. That is showing an immense amount of respect for a player making his first NFL start. So I think Brian Thomas, I'm super excited for him. And I think because the box score was good, but not, oh my God.
It could have been, oh my God. There were moments where it could have been, yeah.
So yes, be aggressive trying to get him.
All right. This is a good one from Andre Silva. Would you trade Mason and Christian Kirk for Drake London? I say yes. I think this is an interesting buying time on London after that first game was a little, underwhelming, I guess is a good way to put it. There's a world where Mason, goes back to the bench in 2 weeks and we don't hear from him again and he loses a lot of value. And I like London more than Kirk. So this is about right for me in terms of a buy. Where do you stand with this one?
This is a perfect buy low.
Good trade, Andre.
Yes, this is a very...
And it's a win for the other side, too. Yes. It's not a bad trade for the other side. They're getting a wide receiver and possibly a lottery ticket running back. So see, everybody learn from Andre. Andre knows what he's doing.
Bravo, Andre. Bravo.
Claps for Andre. Everybody clap it up for Andre. All right, let's go to Nick here in this. Would you trade Swift for Pollard?
Yes, 100%. I do not want to be close to DeAndre Swift in any way, shape, or form. He got, I think, 1 target in a game where the Bears were losing. Caleb Williams is not in the NFL to check down to the running back, dude. Like that, in his mind, he's either throwing it 80 yards for a touchdown across his body. He is not checking the ball down, dude. Like that's not happening.
Listen, I didn't have a lot of early shares because I thought it was too high. And then all of a sudden the DJ Moore shares started to drop in every draft I was in. So I started getting some DJ Moore, and then after this first week, I'm just
look, Allen's banged up and Rhamondre's hurt already. So
I know.
So
I know,
but more. I think he'll be fine.
I know. I just need something. Brandon Wynn, full PPR. Zay Flowers for Tank Dell. What side you want to be on? I want Flowers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think the full PP. I mean, the scheme touches are not going away from Zay. Like, I don't know what the touchdown upside is with him, with Henry, Andrews, likely like but Flowers is going to be putting up 5 for 50 at least every single week in full PPR. That's going to be consistent. So
I think Flowers, the low end is 6. I think the high end would be 9. Like, I don't think he could crack double digits this year. I really don't. But look, the Ravens out of the gate,
be tough.
Look, the Ravens play the Raiders this week, man. Like things are going to get way better for this offense. Like
someone's going to score a lot of touchdowns this week. Somebody.
A lot of people are. Here's one from Brian: CMC or Etienne? Who would you rather be on? What side of this trade?
Etienne.
Are you worried about Bigsby at all? Because Debro, of course, was talking up Bigsby yesterday because he's a Bigsby guy. He's the OG Bigsby guy.
You guys know Bigsby scored a touchdown in week 1 last year too, right? Remember
That's
that?
right. He did. Look at you.
I remember. I got the receipts,
get that from
baby.
The research assistant. Would you get?
Doug Peterson already talked about how he literally said after the game, like, we still have to feed Travis Etienne. And again, people point to, oh, well, he fumbled at the goal line. Doug Peterson hates him now. It was a good defensive play. It was the old Tillman peanut punch. It was just a good play by the defense. It wasn't, ball security was an issue. Etienne was like, like throwing the ball around. It's just, dude, he fumbled because the defensive player made a good play. So I'm not worried as much as the box score would suggest. So Etienne for me.
All right, Gary Moore, what is the trade value of Puka currently? He would not be back, I believe, till October 20th. I saw this morning, if I read that properly. So that's a long time. It's a long time. If he goes
this could be a lost year for Puka.
Yeah.
That's my main concern. And it's like, I feel like you might want to trade him right now while there's the most optimism about him coming back and just kind of move on.
You know what I bet you could get? I bet you could get Brian Thomas for Puka.
Oh my God.
Don't you think?
Oh God. I hope so.
I'm just saying, I think that's a very viable
move to make. Yes. That's everyone's homework. That's your homework.
I'm going to do it right now. I have one Puka share. And it's
I have one Puka that was
a
keeper Puka. So I had to keep him. And of course he gets hurt. And I'm like,
and that would be so, just depressing because Puka was such a fun story last year.
I know.
But there's a scenario like we look back 5 years from now, Erickson, is a little older. I, of course, look the same. And, then we go, oh yeah, I remember Puka Nacua. Remember that one year? That was crazy. Like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't think it's going to be that, but not giving me a little warm and fuzzies right now.
It's
All right, this is an easy one from Brandon too. Brian Thomas for Tank Dell. We want Brian Thomas.
We want Brian Thomas.
All right, let's get to the alphas. Stevenson for B-Rob. Look, I don't know why you're trying to move Stevenson after that game. Like, he is the only piece of that offense. So
yeah, this if you're going to try to sell high on Stevenson, it would not be for Brian Robinson. That's the way.
Not the guy in a timeshare.
No.
I mean, try to get Derrick Henry. Like, move Stevenson plus and get Henry.
Yeah, you want to move up. Not
to a better running back necessarily, but maybe a running back in a better offense. That's the only way path forward if you're trying to unload Stevenson.
Would you move? Here's a scenario. Ooh. Would you move Stevenson for Montgomery? Given the equity of touchdowns that he has in that I mean,
I'll tell you why. I think there's more passing opportunity and receiving opportunity here for Rhamondre Stevenson in this offense that we haven't seen yet. That I think will come.
Week 1 was tough because the game script didn't call for him to be using
exactly. And that's, again, when we looked at that prop and it was 10.5 and we bet it at 10.5, we were like, oh, this is a gimme, right? Because
that was in your theory that the Patriots would lose by at least a touchdown.
Well, you know what? But the funniest part is when I got the 7.5 and Higgins was out and Chase was like, yeah, maybe I'll play whatever. It felt like the 7.5 was the side to be on with the Patriots. And then, of course, that ended up being right, but still, he had 9 and he was short.
He did also. I'm pretty sure he caught a screen pass for negative yardage, which I think ended up killing.
Nobody likes that.
The number.
That's the worst.
So.
John Trotter, what do you have rest of season? Who do you have higher here, Kirk or JSN? Who would you rather have in the trade?
I think I'll probably just go JSN. I don't know. I think I might just be out of Kirk. I think I might just be out.
That's fair. Well, Kirk is that thing. Kirk was.
He was a value
baseball equation for a second here. So hopefully some people follow this. Years ago, when the Phillies were trying to remake themselves, they overpaid Jason Worth, who was just a good player. He wasn't a great player. He was a nice player. But Jason Worth led to other free agents wanting to sign there. And then they brought some other guys in the organization. Things went well. Kirk felt like that signing. It's like, hey, we need to kind of overpay for somebody who is okay so we can prove that we're a real organization again. And I think that's what Kirk has been. And now you're in a point where maybe Thomas is a better situation here, better guy going forward. George Burns, worthy Najee for Rashee Rice.
That is a perfect trade. Yes.
Perfect trade. Right. George, look at 2 perfect trades from Erickson in this, Grace. I'm very excited about this. Look at it. See how much smarter all the people are in the chat of Fantasy Pros. You can go to other places. You don't get these trades other spots. I gave out a bro on Sunday. I gave out a hard bro yesterday on the live stream too. Go back and watch that one with Derek Brown and myself. There was a hard bro in that one that was just so bad, and I was getting very angry about it. I actually walked off the show for 10 seconds. Then I eventually came back. All right, but overall, not a lot of bros so far. Mac, should I trade DK and Ingram for Andrews and Neighbors? So DK, Ingram, Andrews, Neighbors. What side do you want to be on? I think I know the answer.
Andrews and Neighbors for me.
Yeah. I figured as much. Next one here, Brandon Aguirre. Should I trade Lamar Jackson to get more depth? At running back, I have Jayden Daniels on my bench.
You trade Jayden Daniels, not Lamar Jackson.
Bingo. And you know what you do?
Not checkers, baby. Come on.
Chess, not checker. Well, don't trade Lamar because, again, Lamar's going to have a huge week here.
He's just better.
Daniels against the Giants has a big week this week. And then Daniels has more fantasy value. So that's exactly what you do. And then you go pick up, Aaron Rodgers for the week that whenever he has a bye. Don't pick up another quarterback until you need one because you're in altogether anyway. Brian Henry, trade away Zamir White and Xavier Worthy for MHJ.
Yep.
Okay. There's another one here's your boy J.K. Dobbins already in. People already got him. They want to trade him already. Trade J.K. Dobbins for Isaiah Likely. So it's basically my waiver wire for your waiver wire.
No.
You see Likely went for like $51 in some leagues, $57 in some leagues.
I saw
crazy.
Well, I saw Jake posted like the flex waiver.
Yeah.
Was that the bids? I didn't check out
the bids.
Oh, so those are the bids. Yeah, I didn't get Alex out of Madison with my $4 bid.
He's another.
Oh darn it!
Oh darn it! I got Dortch, but I overpaid a lot.
I was like, wow. I was like,
I thought people would be more aggressive.
The Harrison guy, then you're going after Dortch. I'm like, what's going on?
Well, I have Harrison, so now I think I got to back up that just a tad. Got to make sure I cover my bases just in case. Wesley Altman, Jordan Mason for Brock Bowers or Calvin Ridley.
Ooh.
Bowers, yes. Ridley,
yeah. Ridley's gonna have another bad week against the Jets. Eventually, once the Titans have better matchups, he'll be okay because he's still he's doing exactly what he did last year, where he had all like the usage, the air yards, the targets, but it's all like all over the place. Mm-hmm. So Ridley, just wait. You don't need to trade for him. His stock will go down another week after he plays the Jets.
Talk about a buy low here from Thomas. Shaheed and Dobbins for Terry McLaurin. If you can pull it off, good for you. Terry McLaurin's a huge buy low this week after. I mean, it's not going to happen. He's not going to go 0 for September. Okay. He's going to have a good season. So.
I guess for me, but then what's the long-term upside with McLaurin? Are we convinced after?
He's a wide receiver too. And Shaheed is a guy that will have 4 good weeks, and he already had one of them.
But then he has J.K. Dobbins. Couldn't Dobbins be an RB2?
Could be.
Then you're trading an RB2 for a wide receiver too, and another.
He's also a guy that's had an ACL, and we all know the guys that have an ACL sometimes have the other ACL at any given moment. Like he's a little bit riskier than some other guys, and he's got company. So I'm just looking at the one fantasy asset that I believe in that trio is Terry McLaurin. So I just want that asset. That's how I look at it. You're making a good case for the depth. Don't get me wrong.
I guess like Shaheed. Look, new offense, week 1, it's Shaheed that smashes and not Olave, right? Like it's a new offense, and it was Shaheed that's.
But Olave also had. Look,
Shaheed's good, man. Like
who was on? Was it Horn who was on Olave all day? There's a lot of shadow cornering.
The game script probably played more into the. They were killing them, so
they were just throwing balls up and having fun. I
like Shaheed.
It's a good. We'll end on that. Buy low on all Ohio State wide receivers today. That's a good one too. Don't forget, everybody, on the way out, like the stream, give a thumbs up here. It's real easy if you've been watching. Like the stream. Again, drop your comments below. Subscribe to the channel. You might win that trophy. And of course, if you need more help, make sure you go to my playbook and use the trade analyzer to help you find trades you never even thought you could make and pull them off. And of course, join our Discord too, fantasypros.com/chat. We'll be back again for Trade Talk next week. Make sure you join Andrew Erickson and myself live here on the channel, 3 p.m. Eastern. Of course, you can always watch it back just in case you miss it. That'll do it for us. But shout out to first stream with us, our producer, Seth. Yay, Seth, everybody. Shout out to Seth, who's new here at FP. Lots of clapping. Clapping it up today. Clap it up, everybody. Let's clap it up for Seth. Did a great job moving the screens today, getting the questions out here. So shout out Seth in the chat, everybody. Everybody welcome Seth to Fantasy Pros. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.